And when it started out, it was just riding around the T because I found pleasure in it and I just wanted to share that with other people. As time went on, people started recommending places I should go. And I started going to all these different places and making videos about it. And then I guess at some point as it became more established, I started getting people talking about the issues they've had with the T, or transit advocacy groups reaching out to me to talk about like the issues they're focusing on to help make the T better. And I guess because I have a platform that reaches so many people, it seemed like a good opportunity for me to do some advocacy work as well and just share the issues that other people are facing and help encourage higher ups to help make the T a better place.
Welcome to another episode of Spilling the Tea, the MBTA's podcast where we dive deep into the stories and personalities that make our transit system tick. I'm your host, Andrew Cassidy, of the MBTA's Customer and Employee Experience Department. Today we have a special guest, Jed Paul, a social media sensation known for his engaging and often humorous documentation of the MBTA. With a unique style and a growing follower base, Jed has brought attention to the quirks and challenges of our transit system. We'll explore his journey, motivations, and plans for the future. Jed, thank you so much for joining us today. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Happy to be here. I'm very excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and for those who aren't familiar, about the sort of content that you produce on social media?
I guess to describe myself, I would say I am a transit-oriented comedy content creator. I make videos about the T mostly because I live in Boston, and I just like to ride the train around, and I use dry humor to talk about my experience on the T. I do some transit advocacy work. It's a lot of fun.
People might not know this, and I only know this because I found you on LinkedIn, but this is not necessarily your full-time gig. You're actually a medical doctor with an MBA, and you went to Stanford University, none of which is abundantly apparent in any of your content.
That is true. It doesn't seem relevant to me riding trains, so I don't share it openly. I'm not trying to hide it or anything, but it just doesn't seem to come up in my videos too much.
Have you ever been recognized by a patient or someone else who you might have encountered from the other half of your life?
Yes, I have. I've gotten recognized by patients here and there. Until recently, I was a resident in internal medicine, so it's still medical training, but we split our time between being in the hospital and being on the outpatient side as a primary care doctor. And towards the end of my time as a primary care doctor, my patients started to recognize me because they just heard word, I guess, from other people. So I had this 85, 90-year-old patient who his wife showed him my videos and he started watching them in the last couple months. And it was nice to bond over that, but not something I expected him to be watching at all.
I think you'd be surprised how far your reach extends. I've had your videos sent to me by numerous friends across the country because they know my connection to the MBTA, so they always forward it along. But I'm always a little surprised to see that your content is taking off in California and Florida, among other places.
Yeah, it's very surprising to me too. I think I have a very small but strong following in Boston who are very loyal, and then occasionally my videos will leak out to other people, and that's always exciting too.
I went through your TikTok. I went back to the early days, and you were not always an MBTA focused online personality, let's say. What motivated you to start focusing on the MBTA with your content? And when did you know that that was the niche that you wanted to focus on?
I think it was just happenstance. I've always liked trains. I lived in California before I moved out to Boston. That's where I did medical school. And I grew up in Colorado, so there aren't too many trains or public transit in either of those places. And when I came out to Boston, I was super excited to ride the train because some of my earliest memories were like riding the train for fun, playing with toy trains, things like that. And finally, I was in a city where I could do it all the time and like use it as a primary means of getting around. So I was studying the T map. My wife was in business school when we first moved here, and I kept asking her, hey, do you want to ride the green line out to the end, to Riverside, and just see where it goes? And she always said, no, why would I want to do that? That doesn't sound fun at all. We'll just be stuck on a train for an hour. So I waited till she was traveling, and in business school, they travel quite a bit. So I filmed a video going out to Riverside. That was my first one. I just described what I saw there. I came back and then I posted it on TikTok. And my wife, again, when I showed her the video, said, no one's going to watch this. But then people watched it. It got like 30,000, 40,000 views overnight. And from there, I just kept making videos of riding the train around because I guess it's the niche that stuck.
Can you tell us a little bit about your creative process and what goes into making your content?
I have a pretty long list of ideas that people have just fed me. So I don't have to think too much about where to go next, just because if you look at the comments of my videos, people are always suggesting things. So I write them down. And then usually my plan is if I can come up with one dumb joke to say in the video about where I'm going, then I can make a whole video about it. So, I mean, it's mostly dad jokes, like, for example, bringing Wonder Bread to Wonderland. Or I did a video recently where I went to Needham because I needed ham.
Yeah.
Exactly. So usually if I can come up with some type of dad pun, I can make a video about it. And then my actual process is just very low budget, I guess. Very straightforward. I just have my phone. I don't have any microphones. I don't have a camera crew or anything. I just get on the train. I talk a little bit before, like when I'm walking to the train station, I talk about what I'm going to do. I get on the train. I film a couple things there. If there's like special sites that I scoped out to see, I'll go there. And then I come back. And usually along the way, something will happen. So like I did a video where I took the commuter rail out to Stoughton to go to Sonic early on. And it turned out the Sonic was closed when I got there. So I roll with the punches when that happens. And I try to make a couple other jokes about whatever is happening at the time. And then I edit it on my phone. I have an app that I use. Usually like on the train ride back, I can finish the whole video. So it's kind of all inclusive into that little trip. I can start and finish the video in one go. It's pretty nice, honestly. It's a lot easier than the high budget, like highly edited TikTok videos that are out there. And it allows me to just kind of do it on a day off from work, for example, or any free time I have. It's not like a time consuming full-time thing.
Mostly just the travel time.
Exactly. Yeah. I still think of doing TikTok stuff as pleasure, not business, a hobby.
I've been following your career since I'd say some of the earlier days. How has your portrayal and objective for MBTA based content evolved over the years?
It's always just been something I enjoy. Like I love the tea. Let me show you what I put on today. I got a little tea temporary tattoo that I put on my arm for this special occasion. I'm a big fan of the tea. And when it started out, it was just riding around the tea because I found pleasure in it. And I just wanted to share that with other people. As time went on, people started recommending places I should go. And I started going to all these different places and making videos about it. And then I guess at some point as it became more established, I started getting people talking about the issues they've had with the tea, or transit advocacy groups reaching out to me to talk about like the issues they're focusing on to help make the tea better. And I guess because I have a platform that reaches so many people, it seemed like a good opportunity for me to do some advocacy work as well and just share the issues that other people are facing and help encourage higher ups to help make the tea a better place. And also just share awareness about the tea in general and like that it's getting better overall. Because I think that in the past year since the slow zones started, I've noticed a lot of big improvements to the tea, and I actually see like a path forward that's really exciting for the city of Boston and just transit in general here.
You've been involved in like in-person events as well. I saw through one of your videos, I believe you went to Transit for Massachusetts, Tea for Mass event. And I also saw you pop up, I believe, maybe at a WGBH recording with the general manager. And I think you even stole a selfie with him.
Yes, I
while
did.
You were there.
Yes, it was very exciting to meet Phil Ang, a celebrity to me. So it was great to get a selfie with him. But there's so many transit advocacy groups out there. I didn't realize they're all based in Massachusetts too. So I think the first one that reached out to me was Transit Matters, and I did a video with them. And then Conservation Law Foundation reached out to me. I did one with them too. And then a Tea for Mass reached out to me. And then when I went to this Tea for Mass event, there were so many other groups that were there at this gathering. And I just had no idea that there were so many people kind of working alongside the T or in like a separate role, but still with the goal of making the T better. And I think it's really cool that there are just so many people. There's this hidden world that I had no idea about. And only because of Instagram and TikTok did I learn about it.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with learning about transit advocates. And in a previous episode, we actually had Jared Johnson of Transit Matters come on the show and talk about kind of that relationship, because there is this false perception from many people that advocates and the MBTA are diametrically opposed, when in fact, I made the terrible dad joke of being two sides of the same subway token. So, we're both kind of pushing in that same direction, which is to create the best system we can for our riders.
Yeah, and it's great to see that in action.
So with all the videos that you've produced, which is quite a few at this point, do you think your content has influenced how people view the MBTA?
I think so. I would like to think that it made people enjoy the T a little bit more and like look forward to riding it, because I have a lot of joy in riding it. What I have noticed is that the videos where I'm really sarcastic and kind of digging into the T a little bit tend to get more views. So I think that there is a general frustration overall in the city with the T. And I don't know what the effect is of like the videos where I'm complaining a little bit more get more reach. I hope that doesn't mean that people think that I hate the T and make the city overall hate the T more, because that's just not how I am at all. I actually really like the T and I like trains and I like riding them around. But my hope is that by sharing the joy I have, even though I'm very straight-faced in my videos, I do have a lot of joy riding the train around to different destinations and just exploring the city that way, that it would encourage other people to do the same or just ride the T a little bit more often.
Do you consider yourself to be a transit advocate?
I think so. Nowadays, now that I've been doing more advocacy work, especially when I realize that I'm leaving Boston, which I'm going to announce in one of my videos pretty soon, but I'm leaving Boston pretty soon. And when I realized that was happening a few months ago, I started doing more advocacy work because I realized that my time was limited. I wanted to do some good with the platform that I have, and also just learn more about the space in the limited time I had available. So I've been doing more advocacy work. I'm definitely not, like, it's not my full-time job. I'm in a very privileged place where I don't rely on the transit system for getting around all the time. Like, I have a car. I don't also share that too often, but I have a car I can drive if I need to, though I prefer to take the T. But there are a lot of people out there who are dedicating their whole careers to this. There are a lot of people who rely on the T for like every aspect of their lives to get around. And I think that those are the real people, like those are the real transit advocates. And I'm kind of stepping into that a little bit and just experiencing their world, but I'm not full blown, I guess, or I don't do it full time. But it's been great to learn from them.
Do you consider, I know you are Jed, but do you consider there to be a Jed persona, at least insofar as your transit videos on TikTok and the like? And what kind of made you jump into that space? And I ask because I go back, I look at your history, and there's some more traditional, dancing TikToks and things in the early days. And then obviously the transition to more of that deadpan sarcasm that you had mentioned before.
I think that there is a distinct Jed persona. I don't think it's not true to me. I think it's just kind of a dialed up version of myself. I'm a pretty dry and sarcastic person in real life, though I do smile once in a while and I do blink. So those aspects of it I kind of tinkered with over time because it's what people talked about in my videos. Like they said, oh, bro never blinks, bro staring into my soul, things like that. So I just stopped blinking because people responded to it. So there are tiny things like that. But overall, I think that it is like I just feel awkward in front of a camera and I feel awkward around other people all the time. And that is the easiest way for me to act in front of a camera to still get my points across and do what I want to do with my videos.
Do you have a favorite episode?
I've had a lot of fun on different videos. I think my all-time favorite one was when I went to Wonderland on the Blue Line because I had never been there before and I heard there was a beach in Boston. I unfortunately picked a day where it was 45 degrees and windy out, but I got to go there. I brought Wonder Bread to go to Wonderland. I dug a hole in the sand, which is my favorite beach activity. It just felt like all in a really good day at the beach, even though it was super cold.
I came in from Wonderland this morning.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's pretty cool to have access to a place like that via public transit and so close to the city.
And multiple stops on the Blue Line to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Small plug. I know you are sadly moving to California in the not so distant future. Do you intend to continue your online journey with transit systems on the West Coast?
I do. I am sad to be leaving Boston, but I've had a great time here, and it's shown me that you can have fun anywhere on a train. So I am going to ride the Caltrain. I guess there's a commuter rail around the Bay Area called Caltrain. There's BART, which is their rapid transit system. There's a light rail system both in San Francisco and San Jose. There's Amtrak in East Bay. So there's lots of opportunities to ride trains there, and I'm going to keep doing that to the best of my abilities, but I will not have as easy access, unfortunately, as I do with the T. So I'm going to miss that quite a bit.
I'll let my friends over at BART and Caltrain know you're on the way
to
treat you properly. What do you think has been the biggest lesson you've learned from your journey so far?
So making these videos on the internet has really shown me a different side of Boston that I don't think I would have been exposed to at all. So I am able to go to all the different neighborhoods of Boston, check them out, see what they're like. And if I didn't do these videos, there's no way I would have ever been to, say, Riverside, or I took the commuter rail to Air once, and I would not have gone there otherwise. So it's been really cool to see all these different communities that are served by the T and just in Greater Boston, because they definitely contribute to the culture of Boston, but they're not places that I would think to visit. And then it's also been great to hear about, on the darker side of things, just the issues that people in different communities of Boston face. So I made a video recently that was going through Dorchester on the Fairmount line, and it has a special place in my heart because there's a lot of public health work that goes on there, and there's a lot of public health inequities that are going on in Dorchester. So I was able to highlight those issues and talk about them, and also just, seeing the day-to-day struggles of some of the patients that I have, like getting their experience with the T and combining it with my own experience of someone who rides around the T for fun is a very unique perspective to have, I think. And it's been a big learning experience. So, for example, I've never had to take the ride, but I have a lot of patients who take the ride. And when they are signing up to come see me in my clinic, sometimes the ride comes late and then they come to my appointment late, but then their return ride back to go home is still scheduled for being on time for what they originally planned for. So then they get dropped off late, then their return ride comes immediately, before we're done with the visit. And then sometimes the ride leaves and then they're left without a way to get home because those schedules weren't adjusted for the first one being late. So it's just a very difficult thing for them to have to deal with. And seeing that as a doctor is difficult, but then having a platform to talk about it on social media because of what I just happened to do with the T online is a very unique position to be in. And I feel very lucky to have that platform.
That's really interesting. It's an intersection that I don't think is discussed very often, or at least probably not as often as it should be. But the relationship between public health and public transportation.
Yeah.
Maybe something for you to noodle on as you continue west and continue your career.
Definitely.
If you could imagine the perfect T, what does that look like to you?
There are a lot more connections I would like to see with it. And I would say that the two big issues that I have with the T right now are the scheduling / frequency of things, as well as the network being very focused on just going to downtown Boston. So the things that I would change are, one, with an unlimited budget and unlimited time, I guess, creating some sort of ring line that goes around and connects, say, South Boston to Brookline up through Cambridge and then over to East Boston. I think that would be great. And I know a lot of people have talked about that already, but it would be very helpful for me as someone who lives in Cambridge to be able to get down to Brookline, where I work at the hospital, without going through downtown Boston. And then for the bus networks, I think expanding the dedicated bus lanes to help prevent bunching, for example, on the one bus, which is the one I ride most often. But again, there's just a lot of traffic on Mass Ave, and usually I'll be waiting for a bus. One will come in 30 minutes and then another one will come 5 minutes later, and then there won't be another one for another 30 minutes because they get bunched up. I know that's a difficult problem to solve, but in a perfect T system, there wouldn't be bunching and there would be more dedicated bus lanes to help the buses go through traffic more smoothly than the other cars. And then I think electrification of the commuter rails would be great, both from a public health perspective and decreasing pollutants, as well as increasing frequency on those lines. And the last thing would be a link between North and South Station that kind of goes along the path of the Big Dig. Those are the big ones that would be, I think, like really important for Boston and really open up ridership to a whole new group of people who right now drive probably. But that would be very expensive to enact, I imagine.
I imagine so, but doesn't mean you can't hope for it, because I'm hoping for all of those things and more myself. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and keep bothering people to hopefully make those changes.
Thank you.
Now that you are very sadly leaving the Boston area, what do you say to, I guess, your followers, but also the MBTA ridership? How do you encourage them to continue to be advocates? How do you encourage them to utilize social media and maybe that one person who might take up your mantle and be the new Jed, so to speak?
Well, I'm flattered that there'd be like a need to replace me or something. I don't think I'm that important.
You're an institution
in the tea culture and Boston culture, but I think that people should just continue to ride the tea when they can, because I think it is an important part of our system here. Is an important structure that we have in the city to get around. But more importantly, I think it's important to speak up when you see issues with it and to encourage the people in charge to do better. And I think social media and also satire has a really big role in that, because satire can reach a lot of people that like traditional news doesn't necessarily, just because satire appeals to a different audience of people. So that's where I found my niche. And I think it's really important to continue something along those lines. And I think from a leadership perspective, I would encourage the T to just keep listening to the riders and seeing the frustrations that they have and work to make them better. I think Phil Eng has done an excellent job of that so far in his first, I guess, year and a half now that he's been here. And I'm really encouraged with that. But in a way, the fight never stops, I guess. And I know the T is running into funding issues of its own, and there's just a lot more going on than just the T leadership. But I think if we can like rally the state together to help make the T better and get it the funding it needs to really last, that would be the most important thing. It would like help the city of Boston continue to grow and be such a wonderful place that I've known it to be.
Well, I share your optimism, both with leadership and just general trajectory of the organization. And while we're very sad to see you go, you're always welcome in Boston and on the system. And I hope that when you return, you're welcomed with an even better system to create content for.
Thank you. I very much look forward to coming back and riding train more often here, especially when the new Green Line trains come out. I've been reading up on the Type 10s, and I'm very excited for that. Yeah, exactly. Be great.
You'll have to come by when we officially launch them.
Yeah, will do.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today, Jed. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
That's all for this episode of Spilling the Tea. A big thanks to Jed Paul for sharing his insights and experiences with us. It's been fascinating to hear how he turned his daily commute into a viral phenomenon and how he uses his platform for advocacy. As he moves on to his new adventures in California, we wish him all the best and can't wait to see what he does next. To our listeners, thank you for continuing to tune in. Your feedback and questions drive us to keep exploring the inner workings of our transit system. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Spilling the Tea on your favorite podcast platforms, and join us next time for more behind-the-scenes insights into the MBTA. If you have any questions or ideas for future episodes, let us know. We love hearing from you and incorporating your ideas into our program. You can reach us at social@mbta.com. I'm Andrew Cassidy, and this has been Spilling the Tea.